You had big news earlier today for Tennessee. Tennessee flipped offensive lineman Kamari Blair, an in-state prospect who had committed to South Carolina but announced he's committed to Tennessee earlier today. Tell us about the prospect himself and then what led to his decision to switch from South Carolina to Tennessee.
Big, long offensive tackle, Josh. A really good-looking prospect. We'll see how quickly he transitions to the college game, but a kid who has continually gotten bigger and grown and filled out into his body over the last year. Why did he flip? Because I think he always wanted to pick Tennessee, dating back to his July 16th commitment date. But South Carolina came in there kind of at the last second and threw a little bit of NIL money at him, and I think that's why he picked South Carolina to begin with. And then the more he kind of thought about it and the more Tennessee continued to chip away at him, he just always wanted to be here. And that's why he flipped. He wanted to go with his heart. It's a lot like Deshaun Brame a year ago. Brame, was going to pick Tennessee. Oregon kind of went in there big with some NIL, and then after the fact, he kind of thought about it and so on and so forth. This kind of feels the same way to me. South Carolina should get, good news tomorrow with Darius Gray, the offensive lineman from Virginia. But and these two don't have anything to do with one another because Gray's a guard at the end of the day, and Kamari Blair is more of a tackle body.
Good to get a commitment there in the offensive line for Tennessee. We haven't talked to you yet since Haidider made his commitment to Michigan. Is that one of those situations where it wasn't necessarily what Tennessee didn't do? I mean, he was kind of splitting hairs, and he just felt more comfortable with Michigan. Kind of what happened with Haidider and why he picked Michigan over Tennessee? Well,
it certainly feels like now after the fact, and you see the comments and stuff, that Michigan probably was the pick the whole time. He gave off a lot of good vibes to Tennessee to the point where Tennessee felt like they were in a really good spot there with just some of the stuff that the kids said and the family said and so on and so forth. But it certainly feels like after the fact, you look at the comments that Michigan probably was the pick there for a while now, and they just kind of went through the process, maybe even used Tennessee to leverage a little bit more NIL from Michigan. And, you look at like committing on Bryce Underwood's birthday and so on and so forth. It certainly felt like the last few weeks anyways that had changed a little bit on the Tennessee side.
Austin Price, Volquest.com, is with us. And then there's the Tristan Keys update, if there is one, the wide receiver who is committed to LSU, but Tennessee has continued to recruit. The latest in your feeling on Tennessee's pursuit of Tristan Keys, highly touted 5-star wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's going to keep swinging there. Kelsey Pope, to me, has maybe the best relationship with Tristan Keys of any coach at the college level, and we'll see where things go. Does he want to do something before his high school season starts? If he doesn't, then, regardless, I think this thing will, have a lot of twists and turns between now and December. But ultimately, for Tristan Keys, the question is, kind of what's his timeline? What does he want to do? And right now he's not doing a lot of talking, so it's hard to get a real vibe on kind of where he, what timeline he wants to go on. But if he doesn't do anything before his season starts next Friday, then I would look for this thing to go deep into the fall. And realistically, it'll go deep into the fall regardless, but I do think there's at least a window there before his season starts. Once his season starts, I think he'll take visits and so on and so forth.
Austin Price, Volquest.com, with us here on Josh and Swain. What is the update on the health status of the football team where guys kind of missed a couple days, maybe some soft tissue injuries? No one's really expecting Jamal McCoy to be back game one, but what about some of the other guys like Brazzell, Staley?
Yeah, the all-important receiver position, especially when you're rail thin, it feels like they're getting healthier by the day. It feels like it's a healthier football team than it was 2 weeks ago. They've, I think, been intentional in holding out Braylon Staley. He's been back at practice this week. Chris Brazzell has been working his way back in. It feels like those two should be good to go for the Syracuse game next Saturday, unless they have some type of setback between now and then. And that gives you a more deep wide receiver unit on the whole because, you don't have a lot of experience there. Brazzell's your most experienced, and after that it's slim pickings when it comes to actual college experience. Very few snaps between Mike Matthews and Staley, and everybody else has not played at all in a college game. So They need to be as healthy as they can be at wide receiver. I do think that their depth at tight end helps them. Their ability to run the ball helps them and helps a guy like Joey Aguilar.
What about Hobbs and his foot injury? Where do you see him maybe getting back to being in a position where he can actually play and help this football team?
In a perfect world, he's back for Georgia. Probably a bit unrealistic. I think, maybe UAB or Mississippi State makes more sense to me. But I do think they're at least holding out hope that he's a quick healer and can be back for that tilt with Georgia in a few weeks.
Yeah, Brent Hubbs reported at the end of last week on Hobbs' injury. How does his absence right now, how does that affect the interior of the defensive line or maybe the defensive line itself?
I think it does affect it. There's no doubt about it. You don't lose a player like David Hobbs and it not have some type of impact on you. They've got to get Nathan Robinson healthy. Got to get him where he can functionally help them. He has been perpetually banged up during his time at Tennessee. He's been banged up this fall camp with another thumb deal. So how much can he give you kind of out of the gate until Hobbs gets back to help, soften the loss of Hobbs? I think you can always move Dominic Bailey inside. They're going to give Ethan Utley every opportunity to play. Isaiah Campbell will see what he can give them. What can they get out of the kid from Grand Valley State? Jamal Wallace is one that was, even after spring, probably didn't think he was going to be much of a factor and then has had a really good summer and a really good fall camp, and it seems like he's ready to help this football team in some form or fashion for Rodney Garner. But it probably goes back to what you saw in 2021, 2022 when Omari Thomas was playing a lot of snaps. I'm not saying they'll play as many as Big O played those couple of years, but I think you'll see them rotate just a fraction less than they did a year ago, at least until Hobbs gets back and they get more back at full strength. But Ethan Utley is going to help this football team, going to help it a lot. And then we'll see what else they can get out of some of these younger guys. But it's paramount Jackson Moy, Bryson Eason perform at a high level early in the football season.
If the season were to start this Saturday instead of next Saturday, who's your five in the secondary that you're rolling with?
I think it's Jalen McMurray at the nickel. It's Colton Hood and Ricky Gibson at the corners. It's Andre Turrentine and Idris Farouk at safety. I think that's pretty much locked in heading into this opener. And then how quickly does Jermod McCoy get back? Boo Carter has to continue on in his progression. This secondary can be elite because when you get McCoy back, if Boo can get his stuff figured out, they really like Ty Redmond a lot. Caleb Beasley is the number 3 safety, so on and so forth. You like the makeup of the secondary. There's experience, there's talent, there's youth. There's a lot of upside. And if they can all get healthy, I think you really like them. I still like them out of the gate, but I think by week 3 or week 4, if McCoy's back, Boo's got it figured out, all of that, this secondary can be a real asset to the football team.
Do you think Boo Carter's going to play in the opener? I recognize that can probably be a day-to-day question, but is that what would be the plan there right now for next Saturday with Boo?
I'm intrigued. I lean to yes. Again, it is a day-by-day thing. He's got to continue to do the right things on and off the field, and if he can do that, I think there's a path to him playing next Saturday. Is that as Tennessee's punt return guy only? I don't think he'll start the football game. Let's put it that way. And I'm not sure how much he'd even play on defense, but I do think there's a path to him playing on defense next week. Probably more of a path to him being Tennessee's punt returner than anything else heading into the opener. But again, for him, it's just about checking the boxes on and off the field. And if he can do that and get to next Saturday, I think that Boo will be fine.
Austin Price, VolQuest.com. Austin, at the end, typically I ask, hey, what's going on at VolQuest? And you're welcome to still tell us that in general. But you have a story up today on Ethan Utley I think Tennessee fans would be interested in checking out. Tell us about that one. Yeah,
Ethan Utley's a great story. A great kid. Always smiling, big smile, and kind of has went through a lot. His older brother, EJ, was shot just outside their home on the front porch in 2021 when Ethan was 13, EJ was 14. EJ was a freshman at Hillsboro at the time, and Ethan wears number 17 because EJ can't wear number 17. EJ wore number 17 his 1 year at Hillsboro, and Ethan honors his brother by wearing his number. And just kind of a neat moment for Coach Heupel to give that number to Ethan after he earned it back in the spring. After I forget what number he wore in the spring, some odd number that they always give them, those freshman kids. But he earned it, and his mom, sweet lady, just a great family. And again, Ethan, you deal with a lot of great kids. There's a lot of great kids on the football team, but man, he's always got a smile on his face. He just seems like such a genuinely good kid, and it's a great story. My writing is far less to be desired, but I just tried to let them tell it and me get out of the way and me not mess it up.
Well, it's a good story, and you might look at the roster and say, big defensive lineman, we're in number 17. Well, there's a story behind it, and Austin wrote that story, which you can read at Volquest.com. You did a great job on it. Hey, Austin, we appreciate you taking time, as always, to join us. We'll talk to you again next week. It'll be game week for Tennessee, so we'll look forward to that, and we appreciate you joining us today.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.